Coming up Sunday night, 11:30, Catholic View for Women, CatholicViewForWomen.com. And Janet Morana is my co-host. She's also the Executive Director of Priest Her Life, the co-founder of Silent No More, and she also is a host of Defending Life, also seen on EWTN. Janet, before we talk about voting pro-life, I do want to mention, every topic we try to do is important, but I think the one that we're covering Sunday night is so near and dear to so many people's hearts, because how many people do we know and do we have in our own families who have left the church? And so we're going to be addressing this and from a very personal perspective, because we fell away, both of us, for many years.
Oh, absolutely. And I think, I just can't say I'm sorry to God enough. And I think that's why you and I are so passionate about what we do. It's because I went away from the church for over 20 years. And I'm back for over 20 years now, so I've made up for that lost time. But I so deeply regret thumbing my nose at the Catholic Church, of its teachings. The things, I cringe when I used to say things like, I don't believe in the infallibility of the Pope. Who's he to tell women what to do? And blah, 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 blah. And then finally, I had an awakening.
I have one up on you there, sister. I used to do editorials on the air supporting abortion.
Right. Imagine. Teresa.
I was such a radical feminist. I know.
Right? and of course, I was lucky. Cardinal O'Connor ordained Father Pavone, sent him to my parish, and the rest is history. I got, he was very patient with me, because I remember the first time my daughter told Father Frank, "Oh, here's my mom, the one who needs to go to confession." And then Father kind of was very patient. I thought he was going to start screaming at me, but he was like, no, your mom doesn't have to go to confession. She could just come and talk. I was like, talk? What's that? Oh, and I found out that's known as spiritual direction, And it took me, I just wasn't an easy sell. It took me quite a few months. But Father started with Teresa with Humana Vitae, and then the rest was downhill all the way. Once I could understand the doctrine of Humana Vitae, the rest was a piece of cake. And so,
put a fork in you, you're done, as the saying goes. Right?
Exactly. Yeah. And so please tune into the Catholic View this weekend, because, we do tell our complete testimonies, and we delve into the very reasons why some of our young people have gone away from the church. I know so many parents right now, and even grandparents, are grieving the fact that their grandchildren are not getting baptized. I have friends that, they tell me this. I mean, I have to say, thanks be to God, my daughters have all baptized my grandchildren. Thank you, Jesus. But this is a real pain in people's hearts right now. And so we do tackle this topic. We give us some great resources as our homework. So I hope everyone tunes in Sunday evening to the Catholic View for Women.
And I think it also is a very hopeful show, as painful as it is for people, because as we always say, if you and I can come back when we were so far gone.
Oh, yeah.
And look at what we're doing now. So just be careful what you pray for.
Exactly. Because now we're like so passionate. It's like, people always say, so Janet, tell me what you really think. Because it's that New Yorkese, and you, the Jersey girl.
Come out of your shell.
Come out of your shell, Janet. Tell us what you really think. Yeah, right. Yeah. Okay. And so now we're going to talk about what? Voting pro-life?
Well, I think I don't know where to begin. I just had a great conversation with Matt Sharp from Alliance Defending Freedom. Before that, Doug Keck, our wonderful president and CEO, got me all fired up, because he's so awesome to chat with about the reality of the situation, and why EWTN is out there on the front lines giving us great information and news programs to help us decide in this very important election. First, again, a reminder, we're not telling people for whom to vote. That's not what we're doing. But we are called to talk about the issues as Catholics, okay? We are able to speak about the issues. And when we talk about issues in the church, everything starts with life. And so this is, to me, that's what we have to go on. And what I wanted to talk to you about is, and Doug just gave a great example, about people who are saying that they're Catholic and maybe going to Mass regularly, bless their hearts, and even watching us regularly, but still don't think it's a big deal if they support candidates that support abortion through 9 months of pregnancy. Now, there are times when we may only have two candidates that are both pro-abortion. So then what you have to do, and by the way, EWTN is a great voting guide, then you have to look at, okay, who's going to do less harm? You may not have a choice in terms of actually voting for someone who is obviously pro-life. But the first thing you need to do is to look at platforms, correct? How do you start with all this? Because it can be very overwhelming.
Yeah, well, first of all, you start with the party platforms. In Priests for Life, we are off to the printer now that the Democratic Party has voted on their party platform. The Republicans are keeping theirs the same. We are going into production next week with a new comparison guide. And this year, Teresa, we have 6 issues. So we're doing, obviously, abortion, but we're doing Planned Parenthood, judges, religious freedom, school choice, all right? 6 issues. The first side is going to be in English. The other side will be in Spanish, showing quotes directly from the party platform. And there's such a stark difference between the Democrat and Republican Party, and that's what you have to start with, because guess what? When you vote in the president, and you're voting in the whole party, all right, and he appoints thousands of people to jobs all within the federal government. So you're getting the policies of the party when you vote. So this party comparison, we will give it to you absolutely, hear this, Teresa, only on Catholic Connection, free of charge, Free of charge. It's 501c3 friendly, because if you're a real pro-abortion kind of person and you read the Democrat side, you're going to go, woohoo, we're for that. You don't understand? So it's neutral, because it just shows both parties and where they stand. You can make a pre-order.
I also want to let people know about your guide. Can they order it from priesterlife.org?
No, very simple. Just go to prolifeproducts.org, and you can put in a pre-order now. Tell me how many thousands you want. If you pass, we'll put them in the parish bulletin as an insert. We'll send you thousands. This is, like I said, very simple. Here's where the parties stand. Here's their policies from their platform. And the other great thing you have right now, when you look at the presidential election, is we have someone running who has a voting record. A voting record. And the current, of course, candidate on the other side has a record of while in office. So what you do is you look at President Trump's record in office for the past 3.5 years. What has he done? It's out there in black and white. And then you look at Biden and his record in the Senate. And Teresa, just as you know, because right before coming on, I just Googled this myself. And this is what I tell people to do all the time. From the president all the way down to the smaller, like judges even, when you have to vote for judges. I Google them, I go on their Facebook, I look at their campaign websites, and you see who's supporting them, who's funding them. It tells you where they stand. So, for example, Planned Parenthood has given Joe Biden a thumbs up because he has 100% in the Senate Planned Parenthood voting record. Planned Parenthood has endorsed the Biden-Harris ticket. He has already said publicly that he will get rid of the Mexico City policy of the first day in office when he's sworn in, which will now give back money all over the world, international funding for abortion, with your taxpayer dollars. And he also said, if elected president, I want to codify Roe v. Wade into law. And I'm going to return the HHS mandate, which puts people like Priests for Life, EWTN, the Little Sisters, and all of us back in court to keep abortion and contraception out of our health care. So,
okay, I also want to mention before we have to take a break, but before we go on, I also want to direct people to the homepage of EWTN.com because they have a terrific voter's guide.
Oh,
and
great.
We were talking with Doug beforehand, and it's right there on the homepage on the slideshow. You can see it. And it's extremely clear, and it's right there. And I just want to remind folks, EWTN.com, and you'll see it in the slideshow, or you can put it, just do a search for it on the main page.
Right.
Really, really important to take a look at this. And again, we're not endorsing candidates.
No.
We're talking about issues. We're talking about platforms. And then you have to decide, but you are supposed to. And the church says this in terms of what does it mean to have a well-formed conscience. Right. And when you and I were away from the church, and we talk about this on Sunday night, by the way, on our program for the Catholic View for Women, we didn't know what that meant. We thought forming our conscience was picking up the paper, reading a few articles, talking amongst our friends, and saying, I like this candidate or that candidate. Mm-hmm. We are supposed to be guided by the Holy Spirit, the sound advice of others, and the authoritative teachings of the church. That's practically the exact quote from the Catechism of the Catholic Church in the segments on conscience. So this is really important, and to remove emotion from it, and quote-unquote feelings, and to look and say, okay, am I voting on my feelings? Am I voting on my emotions because maybe I like someone, I don't like someone? Or am I looking at what the church is telling me? As a faithful Catholic, how do I vote? And this is what we're doing, and this is why we're giving you the voting guide. And if you go to the homepage of EWTN, you'll actually see voting guide, and it's right there. And you pull it up, and what I love about it, it says, "Are you prepared to vote? Everything Catholic voters need to know before picking up a ballot." On the one side, it says, "Doing good and avoiding evil in voting." On the other side, Catholics must form their consciences by church teaching.
That's right.
And then it lists all of these things, and it makes it very easy. So with all the information we have at our fingertips, we're going to be held responsible in terms of what we know and what we've allowed ourselves to know in terms of informing ourselves. Let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back to wrap up with Janet.
Okay.
Don't forget Catholic View for Women, Sunday night, 11:30, and also EWTN.com/vote. And where do we get your voter's guide, Janet?
Our comparison piece is at voteprolife.com. That's voteprolife.com, has all our information there. And also, too, when we come back, Teresa, I want to talk about voter registration because that's very important. Got to be in it to win it.
Okay, great. We'll have probably about 4 minutes and we come back.
Okay.
We'll take a break and be right back to wrap up with my co-host of the Catholic View for Women, Janet Morana. We'll be right back. Welcome back, Catholic Connection. Wrapping up our discussion with my co-host of the Catholic View for Women, seeing Sunday evenings 11:30. And you can DVR it if that's a little bit too late for you. We also re-air it on the network. We also have a website dedicated to the program, CatholicViewForWomen.com. This Sunday, talking about those who have children fallen away from the faith, or maybe a close friend or another loved one. We address that on a very personal level because we left the church ourselves for many years and then came back, and now you can't shut us up because we love the faith so much. That's and want to give back for all the mercy God had and still has toward us. Janet Morana is also the co-founder of Silent No More Awareness and the executive director of Priests for Life. Okay, voter registration. You made a good point during the break that because of COVID, a lot of seniors who often volunteer their time at the voting booths are not going to do so because of COVID concerns. So you're suggesting that people do what? Think about volunteering to ensure
it's not volunteering, Teresa.
Safety in the voting?
Yeah, this is where you work the election day for the Board of Elections in your county. Many of those positions, there's paid positions. You don't get paid a lot, but a lot of senior citizens normally sign up and do those jobs. Well, I just
get a little something for it, sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, this year they said a lot of seniors are not going to take those jobs. So we need good Catholic people to agree to go down and work the polls. All you have to do is contact the Board of Elections in your county now and see if they're going to be any paid positions for Election Day. Now, you might say to me, well, Janet, I work. Guess what? Take a vacation day. Go work the polls, because we need, like you said to me, Teresa, at the break, you're afraid they're going to steal the election. Trust me, they're going to try everything possible. So if we have people more on our team, so to speak, working for the Board of Elections, all the better. The other thing you can do is you can volunteer to be a poll watcher on Election Day, and how do you do that? You contact the political party in your area, because they sign up people to be poll watchers. But the very most important thing they have to do is check your voter registration. Simple web page. It's not a Priest for Life page. It's part of the government. It's called checkyourvoterregistration.com. Again, checkyourvoterregistration.com. You just go there, put in your information, and it will tell you if you have a valid voter registration. And if not, there's links there to your state registration form. You can register online. Most states let you register online. You would be surprised, Teresa, how many good Catholics think they're properly registered and find out they're not, and how many good Catholics aren't even registered and don't show up and vote. Now, as we know, in the Catechism, and all the church documents tell us, as Catholics, we have a duty to vote. So this is very important. We have a period of time now, from now till about the end of September. The deadlines change state to state. Now is the time to check yourvoterregistration.com and be in this. If we're going to win it, you got to be in it to win it.
Right. Well, great speaking with you, and I'm looking forward to our show on Sunday night. Again, Janet is our co-host on the Catholic View for Women. We look forward to, and I hope you do too, because we have, I think, some really great resources, as Dan mentioned, to help you learn about how to deal with fallen away Catholics in your family, but also especially with the voting. Don't forget, again, you make up your own minds. We're not telling you for whom to vote, but we have a responsibility to point out church teaching and to encourage you to look first, as she said, at church teaching and then the party platforms in terms of how we vote our conscience according to our Catholic faith. And I really want to encourage you to go to ewtn.com/vote, because it's excellent. It is very thorough. And, of course, priesterlife.org also has a number of different materials. In addition to the materials on voting, they also have a whole bunch of information on abortion and the latest news coming out, not only of Washington, but around the world in terms of what's happening with this core issue. Okay, wow, we covered a lot of ground this morning. Right. A lot of information. Stay positive, stay joyful, and remember, God is very large and still very much in charge, but we are still His hands and feet. Andro tutto bene. Everything's going to be okay. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao.